Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. If Jimmy G hit on me, I honestly don't know what I would do, Perna.
8-0. How does that feel?
Feels great, baby.
Happy Halloween right back at you. Thanks so much.
Definitely. No problem. Feels great, baby.
Happy Halloween right back at you. Thanks so much.
Definitely. No problem.
It is Halloween.
Even George Kittle thought the Jimmy G thing was a little questionable. Today, I do want to briefly touch on the 49ers and their 8-0 start because there are direct ties to the Broncos, and I will deliver a Broncos-Browns preview, even though I'm sure both fan bases have checked out. Like Baker Mayfield has given up on answering dumb questions.
Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What?
This should be an interesting game, though, with the Broncos starting a new quarterback. That's good sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I do have a big Patreon announcement. This month, I am going to test giving an extra video for my patrons only. And I'm gonna try to do 2 videos every month. I've got Will Keys and TJ Carpenter helping make that a possibility. So mid-November, there should be a video going up just for you patrons. One we write together and we make it real good to give you a nice, solid reward. So with that in mind, Big Dick Patreon shoutouts for my new patrons: Bubby Brister's Camaraderie Ship, James Robertson, The Double Doink, Jimmy G Loves Big TDs, Ben Bricchio, Need Beer Money, Venmo, Sosa Abdul Jabbar, Francisco Romero, Harv Weinstein Dick Squeeze, Jessen Richards, Tillman Stein, My Meat Smells Like cottage cheese, a big fan from Germany who insults German Patriots fans politely, Trace Fandel, Artemis Brain Sample, You Don't Want to See My Hand Where My Hip Be At, Dayton Shackleford, Darian Mudge, and Evan Mitchell. Thank you guys so much for your donations. Patreon.com/ThatsGoodSports. It's where you support this channel. Now, I never truly believed I could be in the NFL until last night, and I saw this. Turf pounder? I could do that job. How many times have I punched this wooden desk? Turf is way softer than wood, and I am great at punching things that don't punch back. Like the Joe Flacco-led Broncos offense, formerly roasted. Now, Emmanuel Sanders was, of course, traded to the Niners last week, and in less than a week, he's played 2 games for San Francisco, and on Thursday Night Football, not only was he the 49ers' leading receiver, he had his best receiving game of 2019, 7 catches, 112 yards, and a TD. In 2 weeks, he's hauled in 2 touchdowns, which matched his total through 7 games for the Broncos. Sanders is a really good wide receiver, and he looks elite in San Francisco when his teammates are dropping touchdown passes like this. But most good receivers are only as good as their quarterback, and right now the 49ers have a quarterback and an offensive identity that is clearly working for them, and unlike the Broncos, they have answers at both left and right tackle while their starters are injured. 2 teams that have no offensive identity and bad offensive lines are the Browns and Broncos with first-year head coaches. But don't forget, it has taken Kyle Shanahan 2 losing seasons to get his team to be a contender. Shanahan started with Brian Hoyer as his quarterback, paid a shit ton of money for Jimmy, I will hit on anything that walks G, only to see him tear his ACL before the team finally turned a bunch of high defensive draft picks into a talented unit. Will Keys and I talked about this on our podcast if you want to hear a little bit more, but at some point, we have to exercise patience with our head coach and give him time to try and build a team. So the Broncos, they get a half-point advantage for home field, even though they are currently 3.5-point dogs to the Dog Pounders. Vic Fangio versus Freddie Kitchens. Both rookie head coaches only have 2 wins. Based on experience, Vic Fangio is probably the most worthy head coaching candidate of all time, while Freddie Kitchens was tied for the least with Zach Taylor. And right now, Trouble in the Kitchen isn't just an Australian band playing Irish folk music you've never fucking heard of. Last week against the Patriots, Kitchens didn't know if he wanted to go for it on 4th and 11 or not, so he sent the punt team out, decided he did want to go for it, so then he told them to false start on purpose, and then sent the offense out for a 4th and 16. Guess what? They didn't get it. Probably not even the worst atrocity he's committed on 4th down this season, though. That goes to his draw play on 4th and 10 against the Rams. The only thing worse than their 4th down play calling is fumbling on 3 straight plays before you can even get to 4th down. Now, Fangio seems like he's the passenger on a long road trip where the car keeps breaking down every 50 miles. Who knows if he wants Drew Lock to start, but it's not his call, and every decision he makes gets second-guessed by either the fans or his own quarterback. He's been in a tough position, and it's hard to say that any or most of the losses have been on him. You can't really say the same for Kitchens, though. Plus, an Italian coach like Vic Fangio knows his way around a few kitchens, if you know what I'm a-saying. He can cook up a nice game plan and only. Give me the gabagoo, give me the gabagoo, gotta gabagoo. If the sauce doesn't come on the side, I send it back. That's where we're at as Broncos fans. Give the Broncos half-point advantage purely for not having a guy they pulled out of the stands at head coach. Brandon Allen versus Baker Mayfield, right? Joe Flacco's season is officially over as the Broncos placed him on IR and have promoted Brett Rypien from the practice squad to back up Brandon Allen. Second-round draft pick Drew Lock's thumb was medically cleared 2 weeks ago. But unlike, say, the Jets or Washington Potatoes, the Broncos don't even want to force their healthy players onto the field. What do we know about Brandon Allen? Pretty much nothing, other than he was claimed off waivers from the Rams in September. What do we know about Baker Mayfield? He was the Rookie of the Year last season, came into 2019 with astronomically high expectations, and has more or less face planted. What? 6 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 0 watch endorsements. All that for a guy who was a potential MVP before the season. There are no expectations for Brandon Allen. Most people think he's just Paxton Lynch with the Xbox Live Gold account. Here's what we do know though. Quarterbacks with the last name Allen have a 9-3 record this year. And backup QBs, last named Allen, go 4 full games before losing or throwing a pick. As we also know, Brandon is one of the most elite first names you can have. And I'm not biased at all. Me, Brandon Perna, not biased. And my best friend's middle name, Allen. Perhaps the most exciting part of his first start is he is not Joe Flacco. I think at this point, we're all excited to watch anybody that isn't a sitting duck in the pocket, that takes bad sacks, checks the ball down 10 times a game, and hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in 15 straight quarters. And worst of all, this may have been his last play as a Bronco. A fumble for a gain. All right. And perhaps another ironic turn, someone dug up Brandon Allen's scouting report and found that his player comp was none other than Case Keenum. Just in case you didn't think time and the Broncos quarterback situation is a flat circle. A flat fucking circle. Now you pretty much have to give Baker Mayfield the edge here. What? Because we know he's played at a high level at points. And he won a game in Denver just last season. But there's no reason to count out Brandon Allen, is there? And we've seen backup quarterbacks maybe have the best season they've ever had between Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater, Kyle Allen, the Steelers' backups, even Matt Moore. Gardner Minshew was drafted in the 6th round by the Jags and is 3-2, throwing 8 touchdowns to just 1 pick this season. Guess who else was drafted in the 6th round by the Jags? Brandon fucking Allen. What a scary, scary coincidence. Almost as terrifying as seeing O.J. Simpson dress up as you for Halloween. Patrick Mahomes is officially cursed for life. Terrible considering O.J. didn't even get sentenced for life.
It's me, O.J. Mahomes.
Advantage Baker. Special teams versus special teams. The Browns punter is named the Scottish Hammer, which is also what they call Liam Neeson's penis. Is Liam Neeson Scottish? I don't know, probably, but his dick is averaging 46 yards per punt with 17 inside the 20 and a long of 71 yards. I can't say for sure, but at 6'1", 207 pounds, Gillen looks like a guy that could run over a linebacker on a fake punt. Not sure I can say the same about punter Colby Wadman. And I can't believe this has never crossed my mind before, but Wadman is definitely the worst superhero in the Marvel Universe. The real question is, who does the Scottish Hammer's body think is the best Broncos quarterback ever?
Greatest quarterback ever. Elway or Manning? Elway?
That's why I am watching Cold Pursuit this weekend. Advantage, Broncos. Browns kicker, Austin Seibert, going to miss his first field goal of the season in Denver. Guaranteed. Broncos offense versus Browns defense. It might be a safe bet to say the Broncos are going to put a lot on Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman to try and win this game. And this would be a good week to unleash that strategy, considering the Browns give up 143 rushing yards per game, which is 4th most in the NFL. Now, the Broncos' run game has been pretty stagnant recently, rushing for 97 yards per game the last 3 weeks, after going for 191 against the Chargers in Week 5. Maybe having a quarterback that's actually a threat to get to the edge on bootlegs and play actions will help that. Or at least just not telegraphing the fact that he's going to hand off the ball 5 seconds prior to actually giving the ball to the running back. Joe Flacco stopped evolving as a QB years ago, and just like the Goblin Shark, he's a living fossil. Last thought about on Hallows Eve. What the Broncos absolutely cannot do is put Brandon Allen in a situation where he's a sitting duck waiting for Myles Garrett to pick him up and toss him into the stands. Garrett has 10 sacks this season, and he's going to be battling it out with Denver's Garrett. And don't forget, Myles is the name of the Broncos mascot, and Myles Garrett is the one who broke Trevor Siemian's ankle ligaments this season. Basically, the Browns should give the Broncos Myles Garrett for Garrett Bowles to play at Miles High. Now, the Browns defense, in terms of yards allowed, is 7th against the pass, but that's a little misleading because they've given up 14 passing touchdowns and have been without corners Denzel Ward and rookie Greedy Williams for most of the season. 14 passing touchdowns is tied for 7th worst, and guess which defense has allowed the most? The Vance Joseph Cardinals D with 24. Anyway, the Browns have Ward and Greedy back in the lineup, but now will be without safeties Demarius Randall and his backup Eric Murray. Denver won't have Jawan James again, Bryce Callahan still, Jeff Hireman, and maybe DeMarcus Walker. No clue what Denver's offense will be, so advantage Browns. Broncos defense versus Browns offense. As usual, probably the only clear, distinct advantage the Broncos have in a game, their defense. Denver did not trade Chris Harris or Derek Wolfe or anyone else on the defense before the deadline. So there's no reason to think they'll start to regress for any other reason than they give up because they are tired of the offense doing absolutely nothing. The secret is that the Broncos defense is pretty fucking good. They're the 4th toughest team to pass against in the NFL, even though their offense gives the other team more opportunities than anyone else. Safety Justin Simmons and linebacker Alexander Johnson are graded as 2 of the highest players at their position. Chris Harris is the perfect corner to cover Jarvis Landry, and with your terrible offensive line, Von Miller and Malik Reed could be a real problem for Baker on the edge. So Cleveland, stop trying to force the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. He's going to ditch you for the Patriots anyway. You had the right idea to beat the Pats last week though, but fell victim to their drips technology. Feed Nick Chubb the ball. His cousin Bradley Chubb won't be on the field, so Nick won't feel bad if he plays well. And outside last week, he rarely fumbles. The Broncos have gotten better against the run, but I think Cleveland will lean heavily on Chubb Sunday. And with any luck, my wife will be leaning heavily on my Chubb Sunday. Not for sex, but excitement for a Broncos win. So, advantage, whatever. Now, never forget. No matter how angry you get with John Elway and his quarterback misfires, you will never, ever hate him as much as a Cleveland Browns fan. I don't give a shit what these points say. I'm going all in with the Broncos' new quarterback, Brandon Allen. Broncos win 24-21.
It's me, OJ Mahomes.
Please subscribe here, and yeah, seeing a new quarterback play kind of exciting. After last week, I thought there would be nothing to be excited about for the rest of the Broncos season. Give @Wilkie6 a follow on Twitter. He helped me write this football episode, and he helps me with a lot. Life advice, really.